What's going on, guys? Boy Joe 672 coming to you guys with it right now. So I want to go over the press conferences and some answers that we did need from Doug Pederson, Howie Roseman today. So I'll be going back and forth on some of the questions and what the responses were to those questions. Howie Roseman was explaining about the 2019 season that's very disappointing. And the first thing he really talked about was the injuries. And that's pretty much been the course of our year. The story of the 2019 Philadelphia Eagles was injuries, which was displayed later on by a resilient team that never gave up and always fought back and won the East and got into the playoffs and tried as hard as they could to move forward, but couldn't. Howie Roseman talked about, we hired a new chief medical, staff executive, and I'm thinking in my head, I thought they hired this guy this past offseason in 2019, but I didn't really see a difference in that at all. The one thing I'll give for the Chip Kelly era is that we never had injuries. So whatever that we used to do usually worked out, whether it's dieting or whatever the hell they want to do. But the injuries, it's been getting worse and worse. This is the worst year of injuries we've ever had. We didn't have a wide receiver core. Malik Jackson was out. Grusha Hill was out twice. Alshon Jeffrey couldn't stay healthy. Nelson Aguilar got a knee injury. It just built up. And to the point where we had to put in young guys and get this done. Howie Roseman was asked about Zach Ertz, his future with 2 years left on his contract. And all Howie Roseman had to say to that was, Zach Ertz is going to be in the Eagles Hall of Fame. And he's going to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. So that pretty much tells you that Zach Ertz, it's not going to go anywhere. Zach Ertz is going to be on this team the rest of his career. Dallas Goedert is lurking behind and looking very good, a high-graded talent. Dallas Goedert ain't no regular talent. He's a high-graded hybrid talent. So I can't really blame him for saying that at all. So Zach Ertz will be on this team for a long time coming. Doug Pederson was asked about the question that we've all been waiting for, and that is offensive coordinator Mike Rowe and wide receiver coach Carson Walsh. I almost said Mike Walsh. Carson Walsh. And Doug has faith in these guys. Doug says through all the adversity that we went through, these guys, these coaches, Carson Walsh did a great job with the receivers. It's hard to get young receivers, to start playing at a high level and blah, 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 blah. And then offensive coordinator Mike Rowe, he had to say about that and said, I support these guys. And, he was asked if Mike Rowe and Carson Walsh will be back next year in 2020. Doug Pederson said they will be back. I don't know what the case of all this. that was pretty fast for him to say that they're going to be back. But are they really going to be back? I don't think Doug sugarcoats a lot of shit. And when he knows an answer, he'll give it to you. But seems like he really knew the answer. Do I want Mike Rowe here? Honestly, guys, Mike Rowe won against the NFC East to win the NFC East, okay? Mike Rowe won 4 games out of the month against teams that weren't really that good, okay? And I understand, like, the Packers, and we faced some good teams early in the year. But I'm talking about when we needed to come together. Are we going to go off of Mike Rowe's performance for 1 month, getting into the playoffs, winning the NFC East in that month, facing the rest of the NFC East, and we're going to give him another year because of that? He didn't do well the rest of the year after that. Before that, he didn't do well at all. This team was horrible. The scheme was horrible. They didn't, they didn't unleash Carson Wentz earlier in the year. They were keeping him as a pocket passer. The plays were just not good. Mike Rowe putting these guys in the right positions, it didn't happen. So I understand there's injuries involved in this, but don't put the injuries, like, they had plenty of time to put young guys on the field, but no, they didn't. They had to dip in free agency. They had to go get guys they used to have. I wouldn't reward Mike Rowe with another year of being the OC next to Doug Pederson because of this 1 month that we had against bad opponents. And Carson Wentz did all the work, regardless of what Mike Rowe did or what not he did. Carson Wentz did all the work in those games. All the work. So that's pretty much what the answer was. So the answer is yes, but we'll have to see later on. Howie Roseman was asked about any changes to the front office on top of all that other questioning, and Howie Roseman said there will be some added additions, okay, to the coaching changes. And at number one, Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is a head candidate to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Now, Howie Roseman was asked about this, and Howie Roseman said, I'm glad that teams are looking at our team to get coaches. He said, an example, he was like, well, look at Frank Reich and what happened to him. Now he's the head coach of the Colts and doing very well. Jim Schwartz is another guy. Now, Ian Rappaport tweeted out that the Eagles actually want Jim Schwartz to stay in 2020. But seems like the Cleveland Browns have their first option in Jim Schwartz as their head coach. So we're going to actually see if this happens. Like I said, I don't care if he stays, goes, whatever it is. I'd rather him probably stay. I really don't care. At this moment, I love the way he runs his defense. And honestly, guys, I don't mind Jim Schwartz being here. I don't. It is what it is. He's had a few games, but entirely with these injuries that we had this year, he's fucked up. Last year, he fucked up a lot of games on third, whatever position he had some guys in. But every time we have injuries, he always makes stuff work. And you got to give him credit. I understand it's the Giants. The defense played well. We know we don't have the best corners. We know this. So Jim Schwartz goes, he goes, it is what it is. I guess we'll find out. So Howie Roseman kind of sugarcoated on that a little bit, what Doug went off of about Jim Schwartz as well. Pretty much saying the same thing, that they're happy that he has an opportunity. We would love him to stay here. So they do want him to stay in Philly. Howie Roseman talked about, he's kind of admitted, guys, that he had some favoritism over veteran guys. And he believes that a team should always have a few veterans, a team that should, be led by veterans, which I understand. I get it. I know what that's about. You can't just have an all, you need a one or two veterans, some guys that, can, bring the guys together. I understand that. But, that Howie Roseman said you need to have a balance on offense and defense, especially with the young players. You need to let these young guys play and develop. Development, that's what Howie Roseman said. Development of the young guys. That's what we need to do. And honestly, every NFL team does this shit. But of course, a part of this year, we didn't. We kept Matt Collins on the field through fucking through November, and he didn't make a catch since September, okay? So there's always issues with that. But I'm glad Howie Roseman said that, acknowledged that. And that's pretty much it with that. Another thing that was mentioned was that Alshon Jeffrey's contract. Is he going to be here? So, of course, Howie Roseman's not going to talk about contracts or whatever, but he said that, Alshon Jeffrey is a great player. He's, he did a good job. He played through an injury during the Super Bowl. He's a great player, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, he said that they haven't done their due diligence on all the players yet. They haven't went over the players yet. They're getting the coaching staff right, the coaching staff together, and making changes. With the coaching staff, there are a few changes that still could be made, okay? Because Howie said there's going to be some new additions coming into the building. So look out for that. Sorry. Other than that, guys, that's really all I got out of this. Other than that, it was mumbo jumbo, the same old crap, same old PR words, and we're gonna do just the overall. The Eagles need to make some changes, and in the player department and in the coaching department, regardless of what it is. But I just wanted to get this out to you guys. Leave me a comment in the comment section what you guys think of this press conference. If you watched it, if you didn't, if you're just hearing it now, then cool. I guess I covered most of everything. If I missed something, just let me know. I was on and off work listening to it and trying to get through all of it. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys later. Shakes, what up? Fly, let's fly.